Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the TB&J podcast.
You thought about it. You really, you decided
I
whether or not
lulled
you
you
were
into a false sense of security.
You got really, really far in. I was thinking about the entire time, and at the very end, you threw it in there.
Mm-hmm.
You're Jeff, by the way.
I'm Jeff.
Ackerman.
Your name?
Troy.
You are Troy. That is correct. And today, Troy, is a very special day. Do you know why?
It's the Super Bowl.
Today is the Super Bowl.
It will no longer be the Super Bowl once you're listening to this at home.
So I heard a rumor that you can't say Super Bowl because that's a trademarked thing and you'll get sued.
Mm-hmm.
That's not real. You can say Super Bowl all you want. As
but
far
the
as I
big game.
know. People say the big game. People say Superb Owl. You're all wrong.
I mean, I think it's a marketing thing. I don't think that you can't say it. They won't come down and break into your house.
Anyway,
it's more of a we're not monetized.
Doesn't matter. We live in Philadelphia. A lot of us are Eagles fans. I'm a Ravens fan, and we're not watching the Super Bowl. We're watching Halo. TB&J. Because I'm gonna be honest, I would rather watch paint dry than watch Patrick Mahomes' smug ass face play in the goddamn Super Bowl again.
We're looking for a different type of ring here.
I am no fan of the Niners. I'm a Ravens fan. We beat them in the Super Bowl back in 2013. Elite Dragon Joe Flacco was our quarterback. But if Brock Purdy can manage to make Mahomes cry on national TV, I will be a Niners fan.
We won't be talking about we won't be talking about football the whole time. I swear, audience.
No. I'm still really, really upset about this stupid, boring ass Super Bowl that no one's gonna.
He's fuming. I see the heat lines coming off of him.
It's not. That's not a bit. I'm fuming. I fucking hate this Super Bowl. I always watch Super Bowl. I watched so many Super Bowls with Tom Brady. I will not watch this Super Bowl.
The paint is melting off the wall from the heat you're emanating.
Halo Season 2, Episodes 1 and 2. So, they were released together. So, for the intended purposes of this podcast episode, we will treat them as one elongated pilot episode of Season 2.
I feel like
Premiere, not pilot.
We were, as far as the internet goes, pretty nice to the first season of Halo for the most part.
We were a lot nicer than I feel like most people on the internet were. And even then, we still came down to the general consensus, if memory serves, that Halo was a pretty subpar sci-fi show script that someone had put a coat of Halo paint on top of.
Kind of, yeah.
And it really kind of
And
the
best parts of it are the Halo stuff. Like when mostly when it is him fighting Master Chief, fighting
he is
Covenant, and yep, exactly. And Riz is in the show.
Dude, I couldn't remember why Riz was injured, so I went back and watched some video clips real quick. So I think it was like the last episode or second to last episode. She takes a fucking plasma grenade straight to the chest. And they have to patch her up in the chopper on the way back to home base on a different planet, which is a long-ass trip. No shit, she's fucked up. Holy cow, man. That's... Oh, my God. I forgot all about that.
I forgot a lot of things from the first season, and we defended it, I think, a little bit more than most of the internet.
Yep.
And...
I'll accept that. We defended it.
We sat down, and... It was kind of like all the information from the first season had disappeared out of our brains. It clearly was not that memorable.
I remembered very damn little.
I mean, again, we both I don't think that either of us really loved the first season.
No,
it
and
wasn't.
Part of that for me personally is I'm currently doing a replay of all the mainline Halo games.
You've become a big Halo person recently.
I have, yeah.
I mean, you've been a big Halo person, but
I've always loved the aesthetic and appreciated it from a distance. I just never got really deep into the weeds. And I enjoyed multiplayer, but I never really played any of the stories.
You've dabbled a lot in Halo, and recently you've been swimming in it.
Yeah. I went from dipping my toes in to just diving in at the deep end, 10 feet deep.
We did our placement games in Infinite, and we did... Anyway,
okay.
but
we
what's
did
going on
average.
with the rest of the podcast?
We did our placement matches.
Do you want to talk about the show?
In ranked, and we did okay. But no, I so in my head, I've got like the Halo continuity from the games that I'm trying to keep straight between games, but it's a little difficult when I'm also watching the show because it's like the same named guy is doing different things or is a completely different character. So
what does Quan Ha do in the games?
Nothing. Quan Ha doesn't exist in the games. You know that. You set me up.
Yeah.
You stink. so just keeping it all straight in my head is a little difficult, but that's probably, not unique to me. It's probably a problem that every fan of Halo has when they went in to watch this show. That being said, before we go too much further, Troy, thumbs up, thumbs down on the premiere of Season 2. Both episodes together.
I think I've come to the conclusion where I think I'm leaning thumbs down.
Are you?
I think so.
I'm leaning thumbs up.
Okay.
I am. So Season 2 comes out of the gate immediately with an evacuation of a civilian planet, and there's a bit of an action scene. We got elites using active camo, energy swords, the shotgun, which is my favorite weapon in Halo 1, makes a nice little appearance there. It's a really interesting fight scene. Chief takes out so many elites all by himself, just proving that he is the best. And
it's probably there's a big fight scene in either episode 3 or 4 of the first season. And that was sort of when we were like, oh, this show, like, when it's doing just Halo fight scenes is really cool. I think this is probably better than that fight. I think this is probably the best really fight in the show.
And the elites look great. They don't look shitty. They don't look well. They don't look.
Well, they're also behind a layer of fog the whole time,
which is fine. I'm perfectly fine with you using whatever tricks you got to do to make it look a little bit better. I love how good everything looked. I love how they really nail the lighting of the energy swords, and they nail just the dread when you see an elite and they ignite that energy sword, and you're just like, oh fucking shit. Like, it really brought me back to when I was like playing Halo as a kid for the first time, and I would encounter that shit. And that might be one of the reasons why I never really touched it. I played Halo for a bit as a kid, and it was very difficult for me. So I just rage quit basically for 20 years, and now I'm getting back into it. But yeah, it's just it really put me right back in to like, oh, this is Halo. This feels good. This feels great. And like all the set pieces look great. The warthogs, whenever they're in the base, the Oni base, and they've got all like the desks and the computers and the chairs, everything looks perfect. Like it absolutely belongs in this universe. Nothing really looks like half-assed cobbled together, which I don't know if they've officially announced the budget for this show, but it feels to me like Paramount's giving them a blank check.
It's a very pretty looking show.
It really is.
I think some of the budget cuts come into my real problem of there are a lot of scenes where it is people walking around talking about stuff, and season 1 was all Master Chief walking through cities thinking about his emotions. So that's when they really decided there'd be 4 episodes without explosions in them.
By the way, just real quick, according to Variety, back in 2022, Halo Season 1 went through 265 script drafts.
Oh my god, what?
And more than $100 million. The exact number is not known, but it's definitely north of $100 million. This other article here from The Guardian in March of 2022 says that it's around $200 million.
Okay.
So somewhere between 90 and 200, which is a hell of a gap, but it's up there for a season of a television show. It's not as high as The Rings of Power, but then again, that's also the record holder, I think.
Yeah, that's the most expensive show of all time.
Yeah, which doesn't look like it. But that's a different story. We already talked about that.
I think that show's good.
That's not what I said. I said it doesn't look like it should be the most expensive show of all time. I don't know where that money went. That was more my point.
I don't know.
This isn't about the Rings of Power. This is about Halo. We're sticking with Halo. So, Troy, what really stood out to you in these first couple episodes? Anything specific? It picks up pretty much right where the season 1 left off.
Yes. With
Chief in critical condition, and they sever his connection with Cortana. They remove Cortana from him, and then we just pick up in his little debrief.
So we were talking about the beginning fight scene, and I think that's the best part of both episodes combined.
Absolutely.
Which is kind of how we felt about the first season, was the first fight scene is sort of the best, and then it's kind of slow again until there's another fight scene. And I obviously don't want the show to just be a series of fight scenes, like a montage, because then that's kind of a show that's nothing but flashy lights.
Yeah. Then it just becomes like the Fast and Furious of TV shows, right? Where it's like you basically just almost want to watch it on mute because the stuff between the fights isn't worth watching.
Yeah, but also
Yes.
sometimes the show gets real. I'm not going to talk about negatives just yet, but it does have extended periods where I'm starting to want something to happen. But positives though, I kind of like Ackerson, who's like the new scientist boss guy.
He is the new head of Oni.
I think that he is a very, very good casting for a guy that you just kind of just want to punch him in the face, whether like
It's perfect casting for a guy who's everything he says. Like if you read what he writes on a page, it's like, oh, what a great guy. But then you see him and you see him say the things, and you're like, what a slimy bastard.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's up to no good. He's doing some bad shit, but you just can't quite nail it down just yet.
I'm not a big Halo person. I've played a lot of Reach, and that's about it.
I mean, great, because Season 2 is about the fall of Reach, it seems.
Ackerson's not a guy from the game.
Spoiler alert for anyone that hasn't, seen anything Halo since 2010, but Reach falls. It's a very big, dramatic moment, especially if you've only played the games and not read any of the books, because it really highlights the failure of the Spartans to stop the Covenant from glassing Reach. It's an incredible game to play. The books are even better. They really highlight just how the Spartans get their ass kicked, and the humans at large just get their asses kicked by the Covenant on every encounter, every planet. They just cannot seem to turn the tide of this war for years and years and years. It's fucking exhausting. But continue your point. I'm sorry.
You're good. The only other game that I played was ODST story-wise. So I played all the games without Chief. I skipped all the Chief stuff.
I was in the same boat. I played Halo 1 up until like the library, which is like the third to last mission. I like almost finished Halo 1, and then I was like, this game's too hard, and I just stopped playing. And then I played ODST. I perfected ODST because Nathan Fillion is
I was about
in
to
it.
say just because you
It's
just
just
have
because
a love for
Nathan Fillion is my man crush. And then I played Reach because you played Reach. And I wanted a game to play with my buddy Troy.
Well, Reach is unbelievably good.
Reach is so good. That was the first one that had armor abilities, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Great game.
Yeah, kind of. 3 had like a weird power-up thing in it.
Power-ups, yeah, but not armor abilities.
Yeah, it wasn't the same.
You couldn't just do like the Spartan lock and just destroy a Scorpion tank driving over you. Anyway, continue.
But Ackerson is not in the games, I imagine, right? Because
not that I know of.
Because
not that I remember.
the Halsey stuff is all different.
Yeah, Halsey doesn't really get removed from power, I think, until like the end of Halo 4, maybe even Halo 5. It's not until like the Xbox One where she actually like faces consequences for anything.
Eventually, and if anybody is listening and we're getting anything wrong, Chris will let us know if we get anything wrong. Chris isn't here today, but
Chris is unfortunately unable to participate in the podcast. He's got some personal things at his house, but I'm sorry, Chris. Tell me if we're getting obvious things wrong. You can email us at tbandjpodcast@gmail.com.
But don't worry
and tell me specifically what I got wrong and how wrong it was. I will gladly correct it.
But also, you don't need to be too mad because, like I said, Chris will give us an earful. He'll do the job. He'll do the work for you.
But I like getting yelled at, Troy. It's my kink.
Oh, okay. Well, that seems like a weird thing to express on the podcast. But let's.
I was gonna say it's not a weird kink.
No, I'm saying it seems weird that you're turning our podcast into this, but
it's my podcast. Fuck you.
All right.
But you were talking about James Ackerson. I hate James Ackerson. Just his name.
Because you're Jeff Ackerman?
Because I'm Jeff Ackerman. It's close, but not quite. Mm-hmm. So every time I say it, I feel like I'm having a stroke.
I didn't know his first
name was James. And I'm mispronouncing my name.
Attention.
Yeah, they say it, I think, once or twice. But his name is James Ackerson.
Oh, that's great.
And I'm Jeff Ackerman. I hate it. I hate that it's so close. I feel like I'm saying my own name wrong every time.
Well, wait until episode 3 where they introduce Roy Ittingham.
Oh. Oh, that's good. What were you saying about Ackerson?
No, I was just saying that he seems like a very punchable villain.
Oh, yeah. He's a punchable guy.
I can see him eventually overstepping into a thing where I don't like him anymore.
Well, I think he's already entered that territory for me personally.
Okay.
I don't know if they say it or if I just made this up. I'm pretty sure that Halsey holding cell that he's visiting her in is on Reach.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure they are on Reach, and I'm pretty sure he knows the Covenant are on Reach.
I meant more not liking him within the like within like the acting character stuff, not necessarily liking him as a guy, because he's supposed to be unlikable.
Oh, okay.
I more mean like I can see him becoming a character that I no longer find fun. But right now, after 2 episodes, I think that he is a pretty good sort of heel to
Okay,
the
yeah.
Chiefs.
Okay, we are on the same page then. Yeah. It is really freaking man, it's so fucking.
I also really like it when a he's not scrawny, but when a much smaller guy bosses around a real big guy and the big guy takes it. I think that's not fun, but I think it's an interesting dynamic where
it's always really, really cool seeing somebody that it's like when what's his name, Giancarlo Esposito was bossing around Homelander in The Boys, and it's like Homelander could turn you to pulp right now,
and
easily.
Chief gives him that look at one point during the show where he tells him to sit down, and Chief looks over and goes, "I'm like 4 of you."
Yeah, I'm literally 6.5 feet tall. Like, what are you gonna do to me? I could crush you, little man. But it's just the dynamic, you know. Like he's higher up on the totem pole. That's the chain of command. You gotta listen. That's what you do. You're a soldier. But it's very fascinating. One of my favorite parts of this whole premiere was this character they've introduced of Talia Perez.
Okay.
She's part of this comms unit on Sanctuary, which is the planet that gets glassed in the beginning of the first episode, and Chief saves her life. I mean, he didn't intend to necessarily. He was trying to save all of them, obviously. But when he meets up with her again in the second episode to ask her why she lied to Ackerson on her report, and basically said, "I have no idea what happened," she didn't corroborate anything Chief said. Made Chief look like a fucking nutter to Ackerson, who's trying to get Chief, I guess, either decommissioned or permanently grounded or something. He's trying to take him out of service, which you're already the bad guy for trying to fucking make Chief no longer in service. Chief's the good guy. Let's go. But when he was talking to Perez in the second episode, she just revealed all of this deep survivor's guilt. And she didn't tell him the full truth because she just felt so scared and uncertain. And why do I get to live and the others don't? And it's so fucking... It's so good. It's really good acting. The girl's name is Christina Holdo, I believe.
Something like that.
She's been in a lot of Mexican TV shows before being in this Halo show. I couldn't find a whole lot that I would ever know her from, but her and Pablo Schreiber just have really good on-screen chemistry together. They're just bouncing off each other. It was really, really good.
Now, a lot of the acting, especially from a bunch of the new characters, all seem pretty solid.
Yes. And
I also like the dynamic of Silver Team a lot more this time around.
Yes, I was going to mention that. I really, really love Silver Team. I have a theory about Silver Team. I want to know your opinion on it. Okay. So Riz, after the plasma grenade, her arm is fucked. It is super, super, super fucked, causing her so much pain. Now, if I were the writers, and I'm going to do a Fall of Reach storyline, I might want a strong female Spartan with a robot arm as a little tip of the cap to people that may have played a game or read a book. And that might be interesting. Because this is in a different universe, obviously, so Kat doesn't exist in this universe. But if you were to draw some inspiration, because I don't believe she's going to get better on her own. I don't believe that her arm is going to magically heal. I believe it will come down to a cybernetic thing. Or she's going to get decommissioned and she's going to not be a Spartan. She'll be like Soren, freelancing or doing whatever. Or she can just get a really cool robot arm. And she can look like Kat from the game. And that'd be kind of cool, right? Would that be cool? What do you think?
I think it'd be cool. I think that there would be some distaste from some fans, certain fans, of basically being like, "That ain't Kat. That's Riz."
Yeah, but we've also established this is a different universe.
I agree with you. I'm just saying I feel like there would be a side of the internet that would be not.
You can't please everyone.
Sure.
But also,
and I mean, also, there's this show already has it's on the downswing for a lot of people already. So I feel like some of that would be just a dog pile. I wouldn't have a problem with it. And I don't necessarily think that people who would have a problem with it are the toxic side that we complain about with everybody else.
No, yeah.
But I think that it would be a thing that would come up.
Yeah. I would love for them to do something like that as a little shout out to Kat. Maybe they can have like a Noble Team Easter egg on Reach, something like that. Obviously, I think that Chief is going to take the place of Noble 6 in Halo Reach, the video game, so that because Noble 6 is the playable character in Reach, you don't play as Chief.
Sure.
And I think we're obviously going to see it through Chief's eyes. It's his show. But I think it's going to follow a similar-ish path of us trying to repel the Covenant off Reach. Doesn't work. Then we have the last stand at the end. No idea how that's going to go.
Yeah, because there's a woman at the beginning who says that she's seen Chief's death. I think that
and it's close. She does say it's close.
I think that if, like, they basically killed Chief in Season 1, too. So I think that it would be weird if every single season they just kept killing him.
I mean, to be fair, the games did something incredibly similar.
That's true. That's not totally incorrect.
There's more than one Halo game that ends with him missing in action.
Right, but
and officially, Spartans never die.
Mm-hmm.
Not in the UNSC.
Reach also,
they are just missing in action.
Reach is pretty like there's no way to square the circle of being like maybe Noble 6 survived. He did not. He very much didn't.
Kat very much didn't.
Yeah.
George very much didn't.
June's fine.
June very much didn't.
No, June's alive. June's the only one who made it off.
Wait.
He survived.
Oh, wait, yeah. June's the one who talks to Halsey later, right?
Something like that. I don't know.
Fucking.
I just know he gets on a ship and everybody else doesn't.
Yeah, but then like the whole point of Reach was that Noble 6 was buying time to let the Pillar of Autumn escape with Chief and Cortana.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely Cortana. I guess they had to have Chief, right? Because it goes straight from Reach.
There was like an Easter egg in.
Well, it goes straight from Reach to Halo, right?
Yeah.
Because the Covenant follow the Pillar to Installation 4.
Yes. And
Chief's on board in cryosleep. So I guess he was on the Pillar of Autumn on Reach that made the jump to escape.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It all makes sense now.
You know Halo. You know a Halo.
But if that's how Halo Reach ends. So if that's are they gonna go straight from like this to that? Is Season 3 gonna be Halo Combat Evolved? Do you think? Because if they said this is a different universe, they're playing with different things.
Yeah, I feel like they're probably gonna.
But if they're gonna do the Fall of Reach, that goes straight into the discovery of Halo Installation 4.
Mm-hmm. But they've already kind of tipped that a little bit with Season 1 of them having the thing that showed them the Halo rings and stuff. So it's like they kind of know more than they did in that game.
Sure, but they didn't. Did they make contact with a Halo ring in Season 1? I don't think so.
No.
Yeah. They just had like the map kind of thing,
mm-hmm.
which apparently the other half of that map is on Reach.
Yeah.
Apparently the little triangle piece they had in Season 1 is like a key of sorts, because McKee, who's back from the dead for some ungodly reason, she should have just stayed dead.
So you have two real problems for this season so far that I know of, and they're both characters returning.
I don't know why they had to bring McKee back.
Mm-hmm.
She died. She could have stayed dead.
Your other one is Quan Ha, but Quan Ha hasn't died, so I understand why they can't do anything.
Quan Ha I dislike. She's my least favorite of the B plots.
Sure.
But like at the same time, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Because especially with a universe like Halo, one of the only untapped veins left is like the civilian life.
Sure.
And what goes on the smaller planets. And you have all of this room to play with, so why not have a civilian character like Quan Ha and an ex-Spartan Soren? Like, all of that stuff makes sense. It just doesn't draw me in as much as the other stuff.
Also, we in Season 1 were all about Soren and just didn't like the plot he was in. I wasn't very charmed by Soren this time around. He didn't do a whole lot for me, I don't think.
No, and he fell into a very obvious trap, which was absolutely stupid.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand why. If he just like stopped and thought about things for a little bit longer and talked them through a little bit more, then he would have figured it out. I feel like, because Soren's a very smart guy, former Spartan, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's got to be up there on the intelligence chart.
Leader of a whole pirate crew.
Yeah. And then, but that's the thing, right? So the crew wanted him gone.
Sure.
Because he was kind of a dick. He wasn't doing his job as well.
He got Barbosa'd.
He got Barbosa'd. Exactly. That's the metaphor I was looking for. So I feel like him falling into that
Which
trap.
means he'll survive and come back on space sea turtles.
I don't like you anymore. Stop.
Would you not like the show anymore if it was riding on space sea turtles?
I feel like it would just be... This show tries to take itself seriously.
Mm-hmm.
If this show didn't take itself seriously, like, I don't know, Argyle, then sure, maybe he can come back on sea turtles. But this isn't that kind of thing. I am curious where the fuck he is, though. He seemed to have been taken by somebody. They said he was under arrest, but, like, by who? Who has him in custody, you know? Bizarre. Totally bizarre.
It was treason, so it seems pretty UNSCE.
Kind of, but, I mean, he's kind of a dick to everybody.
Sure.
Anybody could string him up for treason. But, who do I don't know what other organizations there are outside of the UNSC.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's the big one is too.
Yeah, like who else is
everybody we've been introduced to, it would lean at UNSC.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't hate Kwan Ha coming back. I just don't understand why McKee had to come back at all. She was...
Yeah, Kwan Ha has to come back. McKee kind of didn't.
No,
is back.
McKee was widely regarded as like the weakest part of season 1, and most people's like most despised part of season 1. Like, I don't understand. You had an absolute golden opportunity to just wash your hands of her and not bring her back, and that probably would have garnered you a little bit of more goodwill with the fans. Now, if they do her character better than, you know, fucking Master Chief, then yeah, sure, I guess. I don't know. I really hate her character. I wanted her gone. When she died, I was happy, and now she's back, so I'm unhappy.
And again, obligatory actress is good and doing a fine job.
Yeah, it's not her fault. It's just the writing.
Yeah,
I don't like her.
The character itself is a struggle character.
There are plenty of characters that I hate on screen that it's because they are written and acted so well. Like the fucking top of my head, the Dursleys from Harry Potter.
Sure,
but you're supposed to hate them, and the writing and the acting
they're also
makes that happen.
They're also kind of written. Yeah, they're written well.
Yeah. That was my point.
Sure.
Well.
Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, it's I saw you immediately eye roll when both those characters showed up again. But again, Kwan Ha is...
I'm fine with Kwan Ha.
Kwan Ha has to sort of be in it no matter what at this point. She's pretty tied to it.
She is. And I have a feeling she's going to be a lot bigger now that Soren's gone. She's going to have to like become a fight for herself kind of girl.
I also think there's more potential of Kwan Ha turning out good than McKee.
Oh, yeah, for sure. That's not in doubt. What else? Troy, what did you not like? You were leaning thumbs down. What's your problem?
I just think that basically season 1, my whole problem with it is that there's like a fight scene in the beginning, and then there's like 3 episodes of Chief walking around and thinking about his feelings, and then there's a fight scene, and then there's 4 more episodes of Chief walking around thinking about his feelings, and then there's a big fight scene at the end. And I don't think that a bunch of the emotional stuff and a bunch of the personal behind the scenes stuff is very interesting. And I think that they did make it a little bit more interesting, but there's so much of it, and the pacing makes the show feel so slow sometimes, where there's like 40 minutes in a row where I'm sort of like, I feel like we kind of haven't really made it anywhere in quite a while.
Yeah, no, I feel that.
And again, I don't need it to be just a shooting range. I think that the show would also probably be pretty bad if it was just a shooting range. It might be a little bit more entertaining in like a dumb way, but like sometimes I do need there to just be like a little bit of shooting in the middle or something. Maybe if we saw some of the stuff that well, I mean, the thing is the other Spartan team. What was the other Spartan team? Cobalt. They aren't on some sort of secret mission or something like that. They are on a secret mission. They're just not doing a bunch of combat. But if we saw something that they were doing, it would be a little more entertaining. There just needs to be a little bit more entertainment factor for me. I feel like I felt myself being pretty bored in the middle of most of these episodes.
I mean, that's fair, I suppose. I get that. I totally get that. And part of it for me is just harder to get into that stuff because it's not necessarily part of the main Halo canon.
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of making up their own rules and what goes on and what makes a Spartan. I believe, and again, email me if I'm wrong. Chris, you have my phone number. Text me. I believe the Spartans are just genetically modified from birth, whereas in this universe, it seems like the Spartans are augmented. They have like skin and muscle grafted onto their body to make them bigger, faster, stronger. It's like more of a surgical thing rather than like a biological genetic thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So like, and then they have like that pellet that regulates their emotions. Like, I don't believe that exists in the books.
That very much doesn't.
No, it's more just like they're just raised to be emotionless battle machines.
Yeah, the Halo games are sort of Chief kind of becoming a person slowly.
Yeah, exactly, and incredibly slowly. Because at the end of Halo 4, when you get the legendary ending and he takes his helmet off, his skin is very much wrinkled. And he's got those blue eyes.
Are you surprised that they didn't try to retcon in some sort of he keeps his helmet on now conversation?
Not at all.
Okay.
I'm not at all surprised they didn't do that. It's the same exact thing that Marvel went through when they did the movies. If you read Iron Man, Spider-Man, Guardians of the Galaxy, Iron Man, Spider-Man, and Starkiller, respectively.
Star-Lord, not Starkiller. He's the Star Wars guy.
Lord, thank you. Those characters usually keep their helmets
the base.
on. Those characters usually keep their helmets on or their masks on. Because, like, honestly, first of all, it's just easier to draw. Second of all, you're not ripping your mask off all the time as Spider-Man when you're swinging around. It's just not what you do. You keep your identity hidden. You stay in uniform. But then the movies come out, right? And then the actors need to have their faces out. They need to emote. They need to move. They need to speak, all those things. So it makes
No Way Home. They always have they had a scene where they all come back in and they have a pep talk with each other and they all rip their masks off and then they put their mask back on and go fight.
Yeah,
and
it wouldn't have happened in the comics.
You're like, functionally that makes no sense, but obviously you want to show everybody who's who.
Obviously you want that scene with
they're all dressed like Spider-Man.
Obviously you want Toby, Andrew, and Tom Holland to share a little hug.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it, but like in the comics, nobody takes that shit off. In the games, you're not taking your helmet off, right? So I get why they do it in the TV shows and movies and shit like that. It's never bothered me.
Yeah.
I knew that we were going to see Chief's face and a lot of it. I didn't expect to see Chief's cheeks and a lot of them. I didn't expect
there haven't been any cheeks yet in season 2.
I didn't expect to see Chief rape a prisoner of war. I mean, legally speaking, he did rape her. She's a prisoner of war. That's how the Geneva Conventions work.
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh, man, that first season had some issues. But that's okay. We're starting over season 2. Season 2, we're starting over fresh. And, they are keeping the helmet on more. Whenever he's out doing stuff, he's got the helmet on. We don't see a lot of scenes where he's in armor, but the helmet's off. You know what I mean? And we got a good handful of those in season 1. I like the direction everything seems to be going in. It feels like they're really trying their best to kind of right the ship and get this going into being a long-ish running sci-fi series that'll rake them in some money.
Mm-hmm.
And so far, I've got high hopes for the rest of season 2. If they go to Reach, they do the Reach thing, then Reach falls. I'm all here for it. And I'm very, very curious to see where they take it from there. If they do just follow the games with the conflict on Installation 4, you got Halo Combat Evolved, and then you go into Halo 2 with all that bullshit, then you go to Halo 3. There's so many things they could do. So many things.
I think that these 2 episodes have felt better than most of season 1. I think it hasn't quite won me over yet. I need next episode to sort of be like something. It doesn't need to be a big battle, but it just needs to be kind of something.
I have a feeling
happening.
It will be.
Okay.
The next episode's title, spoiler alert, for those of you who don't want to know titles of episodes before they come out officially. The next episode is called Visegrad, which is the name of the installation that Cobalt was sent to.
Okay.
So I'm expecting some Covenant and some dead Spartans, maybe Maybe we recover like half of Cobalt Squad or something.
I do really like the scene of all of the ships rising through the clouds at the end of the first episode, all the Covenant ships.
That was really cool.
I think that there's cool stuff in this show, and I think that we said the same thing in season 1, that there is cool stuff in the show. It just needs to do a little bit more to win me over, I think.
Yeah, and I think that the writers are not entirely, ignoring source materials.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the board of Spartan teams and where they're at, which, by the way, you pointed this out, Troy. Why is it a man with signs physically doing it?
Why is that
why is that not a screen? I don't understand. But they have one of those.
You could have
teams,
even had that same scene. You could have had them yell at the guy. He could have pressed just a button to do it.
Yeah, he could have. It could have been anything, or they could have talked amongst themselves about it when they saw it change. It could have been anything. But one of the teams there is Omega Team, and Omega Team is one of the old schools like Spartan 2 teams, like from the books only. And I thought that was a nice little Easter egg. They've got him in there, like when Master Chief is politely having Hispanic dinner, and one of the cousins says, "What's your KDR?"
Mm-hmm.
And
you liked that scene a lot.
I smiled and rolled my eyes, and I was like, "Oh God!"
I heard you drop a thing on the table very loudly.
I was like, "Are you kidding me?" But at the same time, I was like, "All right, that's okay, whatever." And then he talks about playing Spartan Attack or whatever, and I was like, "Okay, all right."
It seems like they did take notes a little bit.
Yeah,
they took some notes, but I also don't think that they completely. Sometimes they take notes like, I feel this way about not to start a whole thing again. This is how I feel about Rise of Skywalker, where they took too many notes from the fan base.
Yep.
Completely were like, we'll just write a new thing. This feels like they took notes, but we're also like, well, we started to do a different thing. Mm-hmm. We're gonna do our different thing because that's the show we wanted to make. But we will put in some notes as an extender to make you have the thing that you also want. And I in this case I feel like it's less of a captive situation of the writers and everything. I feel like this is a good version of that, I think, or at least could be.
Mm-hmm. It very well could be, and I'm very, very excited to see where it all goes from here. I think they're doing a pretty good job with it so far, and we will see what happens.
How many episodes are in this season? Do you know?
8.
8.
And the previous season had 9.
9.
I will say, for those of you who do want to know, all the episode titles are out all the way through to the end of the series, or the end of the season rather. Might be the end of the series. Who knows? So if you want to spoil yourself, you very much can. I will say to you, Troy, the Rotten Tomatoes scores currently, season 1 is sitting at a 70.
Okay.
Which is a little higher than I would have given it.
A little higher, probably.
But it's not, it's not terrible. I think the fight scenes did a lot of carrying.
Yes.
Season 2 is currently sitting at 94.
Okay.
So fans are really enjoying season 2 a lot more than season 1.
This came out as of our time of recording
Wednesday.
So that would have been like 3 days ago?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, no. 4 days ago? I don't know math.
It's all right.
So it's not like super early take-ins right now.
Mm-hmm. I like it. I like it. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna stay optimistic. I'm gonna stay happy about this one.
Well, then if you stay optimistic, I'll be the grump of the podcast this time around. I'll be pessimistic. I think it's gonna get much worse.
Good.
I think everything's bad, and everything if you enjoy
I like
it at
this
home,
role reversal.
If you like it at home, that's because you're an idiot.
Troy Brittingham's opinions do not reflect the opinions of the TB&J podcast.
Yeah, I don't believe that. I tried to be very non-toxic.
Yes. All right, so that's it for the premiere. We'll see you.
We didn't talk about Halsey and the Matrix.
I mean,
we talked about it a little bit, but
she's
there's not a whole lot.
She's in a simulation cell on Reach. There's not a whole lot there, I think.
Yeah.
She's being held by Ackerson for one reason or another. She's still a genius, even if she is an immoral genius who's committed war crimes.
I do like the fact that when they were talking about this man who was keeping her there, I was like, oh, she's talking about Ackerson. And I'm glad that they didn't have like a whole thing where they waited fucking 4 episodes to tell us that it was Ackerson.
Oh yeah.
So, but yeah, I think that the show could go places that I like. I think right now it hasn't won me over yet. Are we doing letter grades at 4, episode 4?
Yeah, let's do a midpoint
half?
and then an ending.
All right.
And then that should be pretty fair.
Sorry, I cut out your outro. You can do an outro now.
No, you're fine. My outro is this. I'm going to tell Troy the names of the episodes that remain, and if you don't want to hear them, stop listening now. Troy, so the next episode is Visegrad.
Sure.
After that, we have episode 4, Reach.
Okay.
Episode 5, Illyria.
Okay.
6 is called Onyx.
Mm-hmm.
7 is called Thermopylae.
Okay.
And 8 is called Halo.
Okay.
So I firmly believe we are going to end with Chief crashing on Installation 4.
Mm-hmm.
And that'll be like the dramatic end setting up Season 3.
It does sound very, very Combat Evolved E is coming.
There's no fucking way we're not getting Combat Evolved when your season finale is called Halo.
I mean, the question I think then becomes how Combat Evolved will it be?
Yeah.
Is it going to be a nod to Combat Evolved, or is it going to be Combat Evolved?
There's no way it's going to be Combat Evolved, but I think Season 3 is definitely when we start seeing Flood. I think Season 3 is definitely going to be the beginning of Flood.
Flood could look pretty cool in this show. Because every time we see Covenant, they look cool.
I would love to see some half-zombified Covenant covered in Flood. And those little fucking crawly dudes just running around and jumping all over shit. I'm really excited to see that. Because the Flood freaked me the fuck out as a child. That might be the real reason I quit on the library, because that's the first really big Flood level. But they're like silent when they're running around, those little dudes, and they just can swarm you so quick. But yeah, I'm super, super fucking interested to see Season 3 now, after just reading the episode titles. I feel like we're definitely getting the Fall of Reach, and then Season 3 we're getting Halo Combat Evolved.
All right.
That's it. Fuck the Chiefs.
Master Chief.
No, he's a good chief.
He did have sex. He fucked. Would you fuck Master Chief? Yeah, you'd fuck Master Chief.
Master Chief or Pablo Schreiber? I mean, the answer's yes.
Yeah.
Let's just put it out there.
But I feel like Game Master Chief, there'd be a lot more of a silence afterwards, and it would be a little awkward, and I think he'd cry.
Game Master Chief only fucks missionary.